Hello and welcome to this episode of the Work in Progress podcast. I am your host, Colleta Macharia, and I'm very delighted that you could join me today. In the last few episodes, we've been talking about the three types of relationships or networks that would be great to develop for our own personal, professional, or even spiritual growth. Now, the question is, how do you decide who to travel with on this journey? How do you pick a mentor? Or as a mentor, how do you decide to take on a mentee? In a peer group, how do you decide which of the many peer groups or masterminds you are going to join? I have a suggestion of 3 things to look out for in deciding who comes alongside you or who you come alongside on this journey of personal, professional, or even spiritual development. And the first thing that I would look out for is, do we have shared value? Do we value the same thing? If I value, say, timekeeping, integrity, honesty, personal discipline, then I would want to be working with people who share the same values, all right? Because I know that we will show respect to one another in those aspects, right? And the other thing is, alongside shared values, then we also need to have a common interest, yeah? So whatever it is that I want to work on, I need to find people who share the same interest as me, okay? So that if I want to develop, let's say, physical fitness, then I need to work with physical fitness enthusiasts, right? Or if I want to work on my communication, then I would need to work with people who are interested or who share a common interest in that aspect. In the Bible, in the book of Amos, chapter 3 and verse 3, it says, "Shall two walk together unless they agree?" So for us to work together, then we need to think about, the shared interest that we have and the shared values. And on top of even the shared values, we also need to have similar depth and commitment to whatever it is that we want to work on, so that this relationship can be fruitful. So for example, if I am wishy-washy in my quest for becoming a runner, why would somebody want to spend their time mentoring me when they don't know how serious I am in this or how committed I'm going to be in this journey, right? So we've talked about shared values and common interest. And the other thing that I would want to look out for is the destination, all right? So working together or going together with people, it means we are moving in the same direction, which I would assume is forward, the direction of growth, but we may not necessarily be going to the same destination. What do I mean by that? A group of business leaders coming together may have shared values and common interest, but they do not necessarily have to be working on the same goals. One might want to work on profitability for their organization. Another might want to work on the people aspect of their organization. And yet another might be thinking in terms of increasing their market share. And so each person needs to be clear on their destination, where they are going. And that is to say, each person sets their own goals, the goals that they want to achieve being in that kind of network, that kind of setting. All right. And the other thing that I would look for is expectations. And these need to be made explicit from the get-go. When do we meet? Where do we meet? Who does what? Who calls who? If it's a mentor-mentee relationship, as a mentee, do I call my mentor? Does my mentor call me? All right. And if it's working together in a peer group, say we've decided that we are reading a certain book, yeah? When we come together, there is an expectation that each of us will have read that book so that we can all contribute and contribute meaningfully. And so those are the 3 things that I would look out for: shared value and common interests, going in the same direction while having my own destination in mind. And number 3, expectations being made very explicit and clear to all. And that's how we are going to make these kinds of collaborations and networks and relationships fruitful. So to summarize this series on leveraging networks and relationships for personal, professional, and spiritual development, I would like to remind you of the two sayings or proverbs that we were extracting lessons from in the last couple of episodes. And the first one is, don't graze your cow in your neighbor's pasture unless you are willing to milk her in their barn. And the second one is, if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. And this is what I'm going to say in relation to those two sayings. We go further when we allow other people to graze their cows on our pasture, because when they come to milk that cow in our barn, we all benefit because we get to share the goodies together. Have a fantastic week, keep shining, and see you on the next episode. The Work in Progress podcast is brought to you by Cogent Afrique. Visit www.cogentafrique.com to check out learning and development opportunities for you, your team, organization, and family.